guys, what's up? It's Jasmine here, and welcome back to Living with Lupus. Today, we're going to be talking about flares. I'm going to get into what it feels like for me to have a flare, what I do when I'm having a flare, and the medications that I currently take. Ironically enough, I'm actually having a mild flare right now, and one of the ways that I know that I'm starting to flare is that my body gets really like heavy, like stiff. It's almost like a sudden fatigue. I'm tired. For me, I sometimes get like a sore throat. Definitely get like my wrists will begin to hurt. And my fingers and stuff will begin to swell up. My knee is currently starting to swell. You will find with me that even when I'm having a flare, I'm still cutting up because I just like to cut up. Like, there's been times where I've been in the hospital swollen with all these machines hooked up to me, and I'm like sending like selfies of me swollen to my girls, like with little blowfish emojis or something, and they're like upset, like worried, sick, and I'm in there, playing around. So, I'm just a positive person. I just believe in approaching the situation with an optimistic spirit. No one else made me sick. No one made me sick. It's not someone else's fault. It's not my fault. It is what it is. And so there's no reason to project that anger or frustration on other people. And there's also no reason to dwell on the negative or to dwell on the bad things. So while lupus flares are kind of unpredictable, I don't necessarily know what's going to happen or what they're going to entail. For me, after 13 years of living with this, I can kind of sense when I'm about to flare. And I have certain symptoms that are common for me in a flare, and I know like I'm about to flare. More recently, it's been things like sore throat, inflammation on the hands or the wrists, inflammation in the knees, or I just feel really fatigued, really tired, like I just worked out, like my body is like strained. I always tell people I just feel like someone just fought me, like just beat me up. And that's kind of how I can sense it. Some things for me that I know will trigger me going into a flare is if I get anxious or get like worked up. Like, I'm a planner. I love planning things. I'm that friend that like organizes trips, and you come over and I have like all these surprises, like a mimosa bar and all these little gifts for everybody. Like, that's just what I do. And so I know, like, if I get anxious about it, like if my plan gets thwarted or like my plan just gets like knocked off, it causes me to stress, which then can lead to me having a flare. If I'm like anxious or like running around doing a whole bunch of stuff, or like just feeling like overwhelmed, I can have a flare. And it's not always that I do that, especially given the career field that I want to work in. If it was like a constant thing, it would be a problem. If it's a rainy, cold day, I know that I'm going to be feeling my lupus is going to be, trying to show herself a little bit. If it's a day where I just have a lot to do, and I'm a doer, like I like to do a lot. I like to move, I like to get active. And sometimes that's not the best, it's not the most ideal situation with lupus because while I may not be mentally overwhelmed, physically my body is overwhelmed, and it reacts to that. And lupus is like, okay, you want to go all out, you want to flex, I'm about to flex. And she flexes. In my earlier flares, it was all skin related. It was all rashes, breaking out, hair falling out, flakes all over my skin. In like around 2011, like when I first started college, it was more like headaches and like feverish or just feeling like really heavy and fatigued. 2015 is when I started experiencing like severe chest pain. I still remember to this day. I went to Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia. My two best friends, Kiana and Lily, had came to my crib, and we were going to do homecoming stuff. And we were, we had been lit all weekend, turning up, having a good time. And then out of nowhere, like I just started getting like severe chest pain. And I'm in the car like, oh, it's probably heartburn, indigestion or something. So I'm taking Tums, and it just started getting worse and worse. Even like we went back to my crib because we were supposed to go to a club that night. We got back to the crib, and I was just like, bro, I don't think I can walk in the house. Like, I don't think I'm gonna make it into the apartment. Like, my heart was racing so bad. I was like hyperventilating. We got out of the car, started walking, and I like literally could not breathe. And Kiana and Lily were there for me the whole time. We're like walking slow as hell to my apartment. We ended up in the emergency room. I was like hooked to oxygen. We're freezing. We're supposed to be at the club, and we're in the hospital, and the girls are in there. We're beat faces because we had beat our faces to step out. I even say like, oh, I'm gonna take a nap because maybe I'll feel better. And I woke up and I was like, okay, y'all just go without me. I'll stay here and chill. Like, y'all go. Like, y'all came all the way out here, so we could do this. And it just, like, the pain, like, it was just wild. Like, I just couldn't breathe. And, Kiana and Lily were like, bro, no, like, we're not going to the club without you. Like, let's go to the hospital. So we went to the hospital, in the hospital all night. And then from then on, I started having a lot of, like, chest issues. My flares were heavily based around like the chest and the lungs and the shortness of breath. I have to sleep propped up on pillows. So I sleep sitting up sometimes. Now, it's not always. Lately, I've been able to like lay all the way back, and I thank God for that because I've been praying and praying for that particular area of the symptoms. Like, I want to be able to sleep through the night without having to sit up with a heating pad on, a neck pillow on, and all of that. So, but I do sleep with like pillows propped behind me, and I sleep sitting straight up. So when we go to like hotels, or me and the girls get an Airbnb, or we out turning up or whatever, I'm always the first to volunteer to sleep on the couch, because I can sit straight up on the couch. And that is how I sleep. So I've been having those I had started having those chest related flares. And so when I would have the severe flares, it would be to the point where I'm like hyperventilating from standing up. Like, I stand up and I'm hyperventilating. But those have been the more recent flares. Definitely the inflammation. I always know, like, I get this tingling in like my shins. And I know I'm like, so I'm about to flare. When I have a flare, it's usually treated with more steroids. Like, so they'll up the dosage of steroids that I'm taking. And it basically helps to alleviate those symptoms. I know that my diet and stuff like that plays a large part in that. I was diagnosed with celiac disease in 2018. And once I stopped consuming gluten and wheat, the chest pain kind of died down some. It didn't completely go away, but it died down some. Later, through going to a pulmonologist, I discovered that, they discovered that I have what is called shrinking lung syndrome, which is a side effect of lupus where the lungs are shrinking. But we're going to speak against that. I've been breathing fine lately, unless I happen to fall into something that I'm not supposed to be eating, and then my breathing is a little weird. But other than that, I've been breathing pretty fine. I've had bronchoscopies and had fluid drained from my lungs. Hey guys, what's up? It's Jasmine here, and I wanted to hop on here really quick to show you guys an example of when I have a flare. So earlier today, I was fine. I had lunch, and I had Buffalo Wild Wings, which they claim not to use any of the ingredients that I'm allergic to or that typically trigger me having these kind of reactions. But apparently they're using something. I'm allergic to gluten, wheat, soy, peanuts, and broccoli. Buffalo Wild Wings supposedly, allegedly, fries their wings in beef shortening and not vegetable oil, which is actually made from soybean oil. You learn a lot when you get these weird allergies. But yeah, so I'm having a reaction to something that is causing what I typically just categorize as a flare. My throat is sore, hurts to swallow. My lip, I don't know if you guys can tell, is swollen, like the upper lip. Sometimes it swells up kind of cute, but then there's other times where it swells up really weird. Like by the morning time, my top lip will probably be like that little, what's that character from Star Wars with the braids. Well, it's not braids. I think it's his hair. Is it from Star Wars? Yeah, he's from Star Wars. Anyways, so yeah, and then I have this knot on my forehead. I don't know if you guys can really see it. The shadow, I can kind of see when I'm like shadowing. I get these all the time. I don't know if you guys noticed, but those knots were also in the first 3 Living with Lupus videos. I had a knot, like, they randomly, like, sporadically appear. And it's usually, like, dead center right here, or somewhere, like, in this little center area. In those videos, it was up here. And then there's times where I get, like, a double knot, like, so it's 2 knots just sitting here. And they don't hurt or anything. I just happen to notice them. Like, at first, I don't even feel them. And then once I notice them, I'm, like, looking at them the whole time. Anyway, so, what else? Other symptoms I'm having right now. My body aches. It just feels like I just finished working out or something. A little bit of shortness of breath. But that's really it. And then my doctor did prescribe me painkillers, which I talked about in Monday's video. I did take tramadol a little bit ago. And for me, I'll probably either fall asleep like this or get like a burst of energy. Based off my current energy, I'll probably be up for some time. But another thing I do when I'm having these little flares is I typically just go ahead and get in the bed. And I have my heated blanket right now. Then I have these 3 pillows. This one is a Tempur-Pedic pillow. And so I like prop up because it helps with the breathing and it helps my chest pain. And I also have my little neck pillow that you use when you go traveling. The little travel pillow. Because it just kind of like stabilizes my neck. And then I just lay here and relax. It's so easy to fall into the woe is me type attitude about it. But I try to move around. I do admit that my little sister is a very big help when I'm having a flare. I always make jokes that she's my nurse, but she does a lot for me when I'm flaring, and it is beneficial. I know me and her joke about it. Probably gets on her nerves half the time, but it is helpful. And just cutting up with her or my mom or cutting up with my friends also helps. It's like it's a medicine in itself because I'm like laughing, cutting up, and then I kind of forget about the pain and I'm not so focused on it, so I'm not like dwelling on the pain. These flares literally happen in the blink of an eye. Like I can be completely fine and then all of a sudden I am down and out. One year I did the Build Your Own Brand conference with at Brand with Drew on Instagram, and I volunteered to work there, and I was so in my element, like so in my zone, because event planning is, you know, my end game. Like I want to own my own event planning and PR firm. But I was so in my zone, and I was flaring because I was like stressed out because it was Memorial Day weekend and my family always gets together. I was like concerned that I was missing out on that, and then they were upset that I was missing out on it because we always have like cookout family gathering type thing. And I just remember like the first day I was having like mild flaring. The next day I was like flaring, but I was still pressing on, still pressing through. And when I came back to got home that afternoon, like my dad and my godfather practically had to like take me in the house because I was like, my body was so swollen that I couldn't even walk. So it gets to the point where I can't walk. I've missed time from work a few times, like a whole week at a time because I can't walk. It is hard. It's tough being 26 and there's been times where my mom broke down more recently because, you know, I could not walk, and she literally had to get me, like lift me out of the car, put me in a wheelchair, and wheel me into the doctor's office or wheel me around, or I'm walking super slow, and you know, I'm just like, it was tough, and these flares are tough, but I'm a conqueror. I get through it, and that's just how I approach it. Like I'm gonna be okay. Like I said, when I was diagnosed, I'm gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be good. I'm gonna be okay, and that's how I approach it. I know that there's a purpose in everything that I'm going through, and and it is inspiring or helping to motivate someone else out there. So I continue to press on. It's never easy. There's always going to be hard moments. And you just have to keep pushing forward, and faith has carried me through greatly. So I currently take 5 different medications at the time. There has been times where I was taking 20 pills a day. 20 pills a day. And there's been times where I have been super drama about the pills and just said, you know what, I'm not taking anything. And I went like a whole year without taking medication. Don't be me. But currently I am down, thank God, to just 5 medications. I take hydroxychloroquine, which is an anti-malarial drug that I spoke about in the previous video. And it is the medication that is supposed to be taken by lupus patients forever. I also take prednisone, a corticosteroid, and I am taking 10 milligrams right now, which is great for me because it has been reduced from like the 40 or 20 that I was taking before. The other medication I take is a baby aspirin, 81 milligrams, and that is to protect from inflammation in the heart. I also take folic acid because my folic acid was low. I take an over-the-counter folic acid. And, oh, maybe I only take 4 pills. 2, 3, 4. It is 4. But I also have been taking vitamins as well. Talk to your physician about it before you take any vitamins. I've had some crazy flares. Last summer, me and the girls went to Lily's house to go to the pool. And I didn't know this, and whoever wants to clown me because I don't like beer, but I did not know that beer was made from wheat. So we went to the pool and we were like throwing back little, I think they were like Corona spritzers or something. Man, I thought like I was for sure like I have ruined my life when we like I couldn't sit still. I was like jittering. I was like pacing the floor here because we drove back to my mom's, and I'm like pacing the floor, like hyperventilating. Oddly enough, I think my little sister might be my guardian angel or something weird. Like it's something not weird, but there's this weird connection. Like, oddly enough, I was having that flare. My mom went over to my grandma. She came back. My little sister was with her. And then that's kind of when I calmed down. Wow. It said you might be my guardian angel. It said. Yeah, I have so many different flare stories that I could tell you guys about. But basically, I get through those flares with prayer, number 1, positivity, and pills. The 3 P's. I will probably do like a Q&A video at the end of this series just to answer any questions that people might have or touch on topics that I did not touch on throughout this series because I know that I'm going to forget something because I've just been dealing with this for so long. It's so many different things that I could talk about. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Leave some comments. Leave some purple hearts in the comments. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram because I'm also dropping some pretty cool content over there. Dropping some facts about lupus as well. Yeah, I will talk to you guys on Friday. Peace. Is you flare? Is you flare?
Everybody died anyway. I said, you're just trying to like